7 o'clock Thursday night, the Garnet and Old show. No inside information, no contacts, no problem. My name is Ryan Big Papa East, coming to you live from the Captain Black's Fishing Studios out of Panama City Beach. We'd like to thank our wonderful, wonderful sponsors, Captain John Black. Listen, if you are in the Panama City Beach area and you want to do some fishing, get some real fishing going on, there is no better company than Captain Black's Fishing. He's going to provide you all you need. He's going to give you all the fishing that you can possibly handle. So go, if you are in Panama City Beach, head out to Captain Black's Fishing for a whole fun day. And if you happen to go to Tallahassee and you find yourself become thirsty, you got a thirst that needs quenching, head on over to the one, the only Palace Saloon, our official Garnet Old game day tailgate sponsor. It's a tradition in Tallahassee. And let me tell you what, we know the owners, fantastic people, fantastic facility, fantastic drinks. So anytime you are in the Tallahassee area and you want a drink, please go visit the one and only Palace Saloon. It's been there forever. I frequented it as a younger man, and I frequent it today. So go check it out at the Palace Saloon. What I would ask all of you, hey, if you're watching right now, give us a follow on X. You'll notice that my partner, VC Noel, Vince Ciccarelli, is not here today. He is attending a family event and could not make it. So you get Big Papa East today. Now, what does that mean in the long run? We will talk Florida State, but you already know that with Big Papa East, you get a little bit of a random topic, right? Who knows? Who knows what it could be? You have to tune in to find out to the whole show. So yeah, welcome everyone to the show. I'm so glad that you are here. Help me out and be my co-host tonight. If you want to hop in the comment section and tell me what you want to hear, what you want to talk about, throw me your comments, throw me your disappointments. Tell me how dumb it is that Florida State is doing a TV show where we're talking about a program that is just coming off 5-7. Tell me how you feel about a 3-star quarterback. All the good thing. CJ is already popping off in the chat. What's going on? Casey already popping off in the chat. Good to see you guys. Hey, how about you post in the chat on topics you want to hear or your feelings around the program? How are you feeling these days, guys? So be my co-host tonight. We have a few stories to talk about tonight. I'm going to start off with the only real solid news is that we did sign a 3-star quarterback, guys. Logan Flaherty, right? Class of 2027. We stole him away. So Rutgers, the dominant Rutgers program, they thought they had him, and just when they thought they had him, we ripped him out. It's amazing. I'm very glad that these days Florida State can compete at such a high level. That we are taking players from Rutgers. It feels really good to be at that level and competing at the very highest of college football because let me tell you what, if they're going to Rutgers, they mean business, right? They're chopping that wood. They're doing what they need to do. So now, in all jokes aside, I'm sure he's a perfectly fine young man. I did watch about a minute of his 8-minute tape, mainly because it's a 3-star. How if it was a 5-star quarterback, I'd probably watch the whole tape, the whole thing. I give you guys all the feedback. But a 3-star, all I want is the general vibe. Like, what does this guy got? Pretty athletic kid. Can get around a little bit. I like what I saw. But yeah, I mean, guys, this is where we are as a program right now. Where a 3-star quarterback is big news for Florida State. Now, some of you could say, hey, listen, stars aren't everything. Like we've heard this argument a lot of times. Perennial FSU defenders will say stars aren't everything, and they'll name players that were 3 stars or not ranked at all that ended up being Hall of Famers at Florida State. And that is true, and it does happen. But the hit rate, guys, the hit rate on 3 stars to being Hall of Famers at Florida State not high. The hit rate on 4 and 5-star athletes being all-time, all-world players for Florida State, much higher. So all you're doing is you're playing the odds. It's any of our us creators who or commenters at Florida State who talk about, oh my God, 3-star kids. We're not saying that it's impossible that a 3-star becomes dominant and becomes the next big thing at Florida State. Not impossible, but less likely, based on percentages, that a 3-star becomes an all-time great at Florida State instead of a 4 or 5-star. The hit rate's much higher on those 4 and 5-star kids. So it's not that I'm not excited. I'm glad to have a single quarterback committed in this class. It's nice to have a quarterback committed in this class because I think the days of Florida State getting faux commits from 4 and 5-star players only on signing day to get turned away. So I almost feel like this is a capitulation of the fact that the coaching staff understands that, hey, if you want an actual commitment that might actually stick, then you should probably go after a player that right now would be actually willing to play for you. And unfortunately for Florida State fans, that is a 3-star athlete. We are, because I'm sorry to hurt your feelings if you love this program like I do, and I love it. My whole life was built around this program. But when you go 2 and 10 and 5 and 7, we're a 3-star program. Now, you can argue, well, if you take in the totality of the program and the history, that's not what I'm talking about, guys. I'm talking right now, the players that you are able to get to visit Tallahassee and say yes is always going to be based upon recent success. Now, I really believe if you had an amazing year, like a couple years ago, going undefeated, and then a average year, let's say you have an undefeated season followed by an 8-win season, you're still going to get players that say, okay, rebuilding year, I could be the missing piece that gets them back to undefeated. The problem with Florida State right now is you have a 2 and 10 team. So you go from 13 and 0 to 2 and 10. Some players at that moment would say, even if you were missing a few pieces, even if you were only a few guys short, you probably shouldn't have gone 2 and 10 based on the talent on the roster. Maybe I shouldn't commit to that program because based on just purely who's on the roster, probably should have at worst gone 6 and 6, 7 and 5. You go 2 and 10, and you go, okay, well, shoot. Okay, so now we're already taking a few 4-star kids still, but a lot of 3 stars, and then some transfers. And then last year, if you were gonna call 2 and 10 just a crazy one-off that's wild, like yes, it was bad, but we're never even going to come close to that level. Like, we're never going to be that bad again. We're going to bounce right back up. Maybe you thought you're going to go from 2 and 10 to 7 and 5 or 8 and 4, maybe even 9 and 3. You're going to have an immediate bounce back year. Well, you don't. You go 5 and 7, and by the way, 2 of those 5 wins are to not even Division I talent schools. So you really feel like you won 3 games. So did you really get better? I would argue not. So now you go into this year. If I'm a top level recruit, a 4 or 5-star level recruit, in what world am I thinking that, man, they're just a piece or 2 away? No, they have 2 years in a row of being awful. Despite coaching changes, despite transfers, despite all the system changes, they're still awful. And the only change that was made now is that Michael Norvell is calling plays again, the same guy that called plays in the 2 and 10 season. And do I really believe that there's anyone that's on the roster this year that would markedly make a difference on last year's roster? And the answer is no, and I don't think there is. Then all you can bank your hope on this year, if you're a recruit, is that some of the standout players from last year's roster, the Makai Danzis, the Desirs, on the receiving, a couple on the receiving team, some standout players will go from just standout players to all world, like best in the country players. And maybe that combined with some average play elsewhere gets you to 7-5, 8-4. Is that still enough if you're a 4 and 5 star kid to come play at Florida State, or would you look to elsewhere? Would you go to Georgia or Alabama or Oregon or Ohio State or any of these other places that 2-10 and 5-7 don't even seem possible? So that's where we are. We are reporting this week on a 3-star quarterback, and they're our only quarterback in the class, and that's where we're at today. So I'm gonna go into the comments. Lots of opinions here. CJ writes, I want to hear how the hell did things get so bad that we can only get our fifth option, which is a damn 3-star. Just an embarrassment. Totally agree. It goes into everything I just said. Um, you suck for long enough, and I know it's only been 2 years, but it was not just like 7-5, 8-4. It was 2-10 and 5-7. So you don't just suck; you catastrophically suck. You are nowhere near average, and that will make players go, I don't think they're just missing a few players. Now that undefeated season and the 10-win season before it looked like the outliers, because those seasons did happen, but then you look at the years before that and you're like, not that great. So if you look at the totality of Mike Norvell's tenure here, it seems like success is the outlier. And we hit on some really special players. We got lucky in the portal before a lot of people were hitting it. And we just, man, what a perfect timing. It all went together for 2 years. Well, things change. Now recent evidence would show you that we're not anywhere close to being good again. And so I, as a 4 or 5-star commit, even if I liked Florida State, would be like, oh no. Oh no. So yes, and this goes into something we talked about. CJ also writes, what the hell are we spending money on? Yeah, so we're spending money on a lot. I mean, we are. You look at the facility upgrades and all that. A lot of money was spent there. Mike Norvell's contract is considerably expensive, and if we were to fire Mike Norvell, that contract would be considerably expensive, and then you would have to pay an enormous amount of money to get an entire new staff because that head coach is going to want his own assistants, and he's going to want top dollar to bring those assistants in. So no matter what, you're bleeding money. But I get it. On an NIL perspective, where are you spending the money? And the honest answer is we found out we're middle of the road right now. Come to find out, if you watched the On3 show with like Josh Pate or whatever, Florida State is spending right in the middle of the road of college football on NIL budget because we are following the rules, like just in case anything ever goes into court or legal things come out of it. We are spending about roughly 20 to 25 million on NIL a year, whereas the top competing teams in the country this year are expected to spend $50 million. So right now, we are spending on NIL what a Rutgers or NC State or Virginia would spend on their football roster. And that ain't good. And good luck raising money to put towards NIL with a product on the field that looks like crap, and the coach is still here. So there's no hope right now from the fan base because the coach is still here. You can't raise money to get a better roster. And so that's why this year feels like almost like a waste. Like you're like, okay, well, can we just get it on so that we can lose a bunch of games so that we can fire Mike Norvell? Like that has creeped into my mind multiple times. Like, let's just get to September so we can get the Florida State takes ass kickings on the regular so that we can fire Mark Norvell, so that we can get a legitimate coach in here, so that there can be excitement in the program again, so that we can raise money for NIL, and let's please start spending appropriately using our budget. Like, I feel like none of those things can even happen until we fire Mark Norvell. And to fire Mark Norvell, we have to take ass beatings for the first part of next year. So, yeah, that's sorry for the negativity, guys. I didn't mean to hit with the negativity today, but that's what it feels like, right? I mean, that's what it feels like we are, is that, we're not anywhere close, and we can't even start to become anywhere close until we get rid of the guy that led us to not being anywhere close. Casey writes, and this is a good point. If you had a good coach who could develop the 3 stars, would be placed. But Mario, we've turned so many 3-star players into no one here. Whereas other coaches, he points out, Mario has turned 3-star players into really good players. Agreed. It's clear as day that Mike Norvell has not developed talent here at Florida State, nor have his assistant coaches. Rare. Rare has it been. In fact, most of our elite players have been transfers that have come in. Literally, the only one you could say that was like a development over time was Jordan Travis, like a real development prospect over time. But he wasn't even selected by Mike Norvell. He was on Willie Taggart's final year. He was, I remember him running the ball in the bowl game in QB runs. So, okay, any player that Mike Norvell has selected, how many has he developed? Getting pretty desperate out there. Getting pretty desperate. Rock and Noel, I do want to shout out. Rock and Noel says, "Evening, everyone. It's good to see you, Rock and Noel. If you ever want to come on the podcast again, let me know. Would love to have you on here." Oh man, CJ, Ryan, and Rock would have been a dope show tonight to fill in for Vince. So here's the thing: Rock and Noel can come on the show anytime he wants. We're here every night on Thursday every night, 7:00. Rock and Noel. I'm not even joking. You can message us an hour before the show if it takes that on a Thursday and say, "Hey, I'm available tonight," and we'll bring you on. So anytime you want, you are welcome on the Garnet and Old show. Let's see. Tomcat, there he is. Tomcat, I don't think they're spending because they know the train has left the station. Save your money for the buyout and a new coach. Unfortunately, their miscalculation last year has left us, the butt. Now, I think there's mostly truth here. I think you got to flip it a little bit. I don't think they're spending money because the train has left the station. I don't think it's that FSU is not willing to spend money on a roster because the train has left the station. I think boosters and people who would donate to NIL potentially feel like the train has left the station and are not willing to continue to invest millions of dollars into this program on a roster when we've done that now 2 years in a row and nothing has happened. No good has come from it. And so I think it's more from the NIL and booster donations have dried up, which then means you can't compete, which then means you're a lame duck program. That's what it feels like right now until the change happens, until Mike Norvell and company are let go. We feel like we're a lame duck program. That's how I feel right now. Casey writes and adds to it, Norvell was a portal merchant, got lucky before anyone else had it. 2 good years, and then everyone else used it, and we're nothing again. I 100% agree with this. I talk with Vince about this all the time, and I think he agrees to a point that good on Mike for early in the portal day saying, hey, look at all these players. We can go get ready-made guys and just bring them on in. That would be great. Then we don't have to – they just come in ready to play. That's fantastic. So, smart man to do that at the time. However, all the other teams in the country then went a year later and said, that's pretty nice. I would like that too. And then everyone starts doing it, and then every team only gets one elite player, or maybe not even that. And then it's an even ball game, man, and everyone's got transfer portal guys, and now you're not special, and now you are only left with average players you bring in the portal, and then no one that you've developed through recruiting. So it's a perfect storm, right? I mean, that's where we are right now. I was on this train. CJ, never seen anyone mention Dilly. Not true. There was a show 2-3 months ago where Vince and I talked about, like, okay, if Mike Norvell is fired, and I actually said I would like Kenny Dillingham to be interviewed for the job. Now, do I think he's the perfect candidate for FSU? I don't think he's, like, he wouldn't be my number one candidate, but he would certainly be in my top 5 considerations. Like all coaching searches, it's I would say it's very rare, unless you have an inside track on someone, that if you had a hot board that your number one, like, yep, that's our guy, says yes all the time. We saw it in this, like, Think of all the guys who have passed up on jobs, and you see it reported, like in Penn State's out there just struggling trying to get anyone to say yes at some point because all their choices have been passing them up. That could happen here too. So now, do I think Kenny Dillingham is a very likely person to say yes if offered? Yes, I do. And so that's why I think that he should definitely be on the list. You should have him on the list. But he wouldn't be my top choice. What's funny enough, and Vince, if he was here, would argue vehemently against this. But I would put Jimbo Fisher still. I'm weird, guys. Yell at me if you want. Agree with me if you want. I would still like a humble Jimbo Fisher who has realized the failings of his past and realized how good he had it here at Florida State and lives in Tallahassee right now, and who has openly all but shouted from a mountaintop that he would love to be considered for the job again, and how much he loves this university when he's on game day and all these shows, and always having former Florida State players on, he's on podcasts with them talking about Florida State in the good old days. Now, do I think just because you hired Jimbo Fisher that you're going to be winning natties again? I don't know. I mean, that is actually impossible to know, regardless on who we hire. You never know. We could hire Nick Saban and be like, oh my God, it's going to be amazing. And then we only win 8 or 9 games and he's gone in 4 years because he's frustrated he can't win at the level he thought he could. You don't know how Mike Norvell was on the regular winning 10 games at Memphis. Can't do it here. So you never know. But Jimbo Fisher would actually be number 1 or number 2 on my list. I actually really do like you guys bringing it up. Listen, I don't. Manny Diaz is a complicated figure for me because he just seems like that guy that's been around everywhere. And it's like when he's been given the shot, it didn't work out, and then he's here and it works out, and then he's there and and it's just kind of it's all over the map. It's hard to place a pin on the career, like the overall highs and lows of Manny Diaz. I think people are falling in love with him because of the background and lineage and everything, where alma mater and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's impossible to know, guys, if he would work out. But yes, I definitely think Dilly should be on the list. Casey writes, if FSU would have fired Norvell after 2-10, they could have gone after Signetti. Guys, Signetti would have. All right, hold on. Casey, if he wouldn't take the Penn State job, which they thought they had him a lot for that job, and Indiana went, take all the money, please stay, and he said yes, he would have done the same thing to us. So, although I like Kirk Signetti, I am actually extremely interested how long the Signetti train can run. Like, he seems like the kind of personality that when it's running well and you're winning is so much fun, and you're like, how quirky, how cool, very interesting guy. And then the second it starts going poorly, that personality gets real annoying real quick, almost like a Jimbo Fisher. Like when Jimbo was winning and he was talking fast and his eyes were wild and he was saying weird things all the time, you're like, I love this guy, man. He's folksy and weird and kind of crazy, but we're out here winning national championships, so I like him. But then he starts losing, and that fast talking starts to be a whole lot of pivoting and complaining and blaming instead of winning. Got on your nerves real quick, didn't it? I think Kirk Signetti will fall in that train of fun personality when you're having a good time, really annoying personality to have when it starts going south. So we'll see. Maybe he won't. Maybe it won't go south, and Kirk Signetti is the new Nick Saban, and everyone can't believe that Indiana is the new perennial powerhouse in college football. I actually doubt it. I think they continue to have good years, but I find it hard to believe that Indiana can continue to compete year in, year out for national championships all the time. And CJ writes, Jimbo would be a force here if he got brought back. He would appreciate FSU and would be 100% in. So this is where Vince and I divert, and I almost hope Vince watches the show after he's done. I actually do fully agree and believe, because if I put myself in Jimbo's shoes, like I'm Jimbo Fisher, early in your career when you're ascending, constantly ascending, and then you reach a national championship level, nobody can touch you. No one can tell you your shit stinks. You're just out here. You guys should be lucky to have me. And I need this and I need that and bitching and complaining when I don't have what I want because you just won a national championship. You guys, that's what you wanted me to do, and I did it. And now complain, 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 complain. I could get on board with that energy because I actually like in my career I've had moments where I felt like I had ascended. I had made it earlier in my career and I was very hard headed and didn't play well with others and always thought I was right and never want to hear anyone telling me otherwise. And all it takes is that one knocking you down a peg moment or two. So Jimbo going to unlimited resources where everything he could have ever dreamed at having at FSU, they gave him everything. And it failed. I can imagine if I put myself in that situation, it being a kick to the boys. In fact, similar things I've had happen where I've gone to a high level and felt like I was on top and no one could touch me, and then get kicked down and let go, or couldn't job situations and everything like that. And you're like, man, you kind of sit down and go, I was kind of an ass. I shouldn't have handled that way at all back then. What was I doing? You sweet poor boy, you shouldn't have done that, right? And then when you get hired at your next job that you get a chance to kind of rebrand, many people who are honest with themselves will go into that job with like fresh start, learned a lot of lessons that I don't want to learn again. So this time I'm going to do things differently. I'm going to appreciate people. I'm going to take care of people. I'm going to be nicer. I actually think that's what you would get out of Jimbo Fisher. It had to have been an immense kick to the stones for him to fail at Texas A&M with all those resources. Then he comes back to Tallahassee, and I imagine if I were him too, I'd be looking back and being like, oh, man, remember when we were winning? And remember when I made all those relationships with all those players? Remember those good old days, the building days when I got to build something? That was fun. I would like to relive that. Now, sometimes rekindling of the old relationship doesn't go well. Sometimes in real relationships, it definitely doesn't go well. I've seen people leave a job, kind of miss it, and make up their mistakes, and they want to come back, and it's just not the same. It just feels different, and they can't rekindle that same success or the same energy. That could happen. Like if Jimbo got hired here, maybe he's just like it's just passed him by. But my gut tells me he would be appreciative to be brought back. He would be engaged again and probably less combative, and just would be happy to be here and would probably focus on what he does really well, which is recruiting. Would probably bring in really good assistant coaches, spare no expense. You better be willing to spend if Jimbo comes as your coach for assistant coaches. But I do think he would get us back to with Jimbo Fisher. There was never going to be a situation in which we went 2-10. That was impossible. Like Jimbo Fisher would never have had a 2-10 season at Florida State. And I feel like the last season is so weird because like, is he leaving and he's flirting and he's not engaged and he's bailing on recruiting and you feel like he's just kind of like not all in it. But like, let's say every year before then, even the years when it started to trail off, literally the year before he went 10 wins, right? We beat Michigan in a bowl game. Imagine our disappointment. Oh, crushed last year if we had gone to the Orange Bowl and beat Michigan and had a 10-win season. No one would be calling for Mike Norvell's job if we got 10 wins after a bowl game. We would be like, man, we could have, there's some games that got away from us. We should have been 11 or 12 wins, but hey, 10 wins ain't bad, right? Now, man, we would kill for 9 or 10 wins. We would kill for the bad Jimbo Fisher year of like, 9 wins? Huh. We would kill for it right now. I know I would. So yeah, bring Jimbo back. Let him be the CEO, head coach. Let him surround himself with a whole lot of talent. I do want to get some other topics here. Game times announced for the SMU and Florida matchup. So kickoff times for the ACC opener for SMU will be 3:30. Sorry, no, that's the Florida game. The SMU game, I think, is Uh, what time did they announce it for? I think it's 3:30. Yes, I do believe it's 3:30. Now I'm going to verify that. FSU SMU 2026. September 7th, we knew that. I thought they announced the time. Maybe I'm going crazy. They announced the Florida game time. I know that. Yeah, 7:30 SMU. Um, Interested to see, guys. The kind of odds came out in this game. Unfortunately, they weren't in the odds of Florida State. Uh, Slight underdog state to SMU in the opener. Okay, so it's basically a pick 'em. What you guys know right now about Florida State? Forget the SMU game. Let's not even get there. In the chat, I want to hear from you. If you had to put a percentage on a chance that we lose to New Mexico the first game of the season, not saying it's likely. I'm just saying put a percentage on it. Put it in the chat. What is the odd, like the percentage that you believe is available to us to lose that first game? I would put it 10 to 50, 10 to 20%, somewhere near there, 10 to 20%, which normally would be, oh my God, no, 0% chance, 1%. It's such an easy win. Guys, I'm not convinced. I mean, dysfunction, new quarterback, turnovers, weird things can happen. And you want to talk about railroad in the season. If that were to happen, and we lost to New Mexico week 1 or week 0, I mean, y'all, Mike Norvell, but he could just pack his bags. He would probably be fired within a couple games. He wouldn't be fired immediately after that. There would be a lot of calls for him to get fired immediately after that, but the administration would probably want to at least give it 3 or 4 games. My guess would be, but yeah, you lose that New Mexico game, you're toast. But let's say Florida State wins it. Let's even say they beat New Mexico 42-10. Nothing spectacular. A win, a healthy win. Guys, I'm like, give us like 30% chance to beat SMU. I don't think we beat SMU based on what I've seen from them recently, what I've seen from us recently. I think it's very likely that we lose to SMU. So let's say a win against New Mexico State, a loss against SMU from Big Papa East, and early W's and L's. I believe you go to Alabama and get your ass kicked because I don't think they're real happy with how that game went last year. And they've been hearing about it ever since. So, in a situation, in my opinion, and then you obviously you play Central Arkansas the next week, you'll win that game. So let's say a most likely case scenario, I really think, is that you're 2-2 through 4 games. Well, guys, then you got to play Virginia and Louisville and Miami and Clemson. I'm picking L's for every one of those games. Now, let's do best case scenario. Florida State beats New Mexico State, beats SMU, loses to Alabama. I think even in best case situation, we lose to Alabama next year. Beat Central Arkansas. Okay, so you're 3-1. I think even if you beat Virginia and you're 4-1, and then you lose to Virginia, lose to Louisville, lose to Miami and Clemson, if you're at 500 halfway through the year, just over halfway through the year, I think Mike Norvell's gone. I don't think he's going to stick around. So, no matter what, I think Mike Norvell is gone. But man, it would expedite it in a hurry if he went out there and screwed around, lost to New Mexico and SMU and Alabama. 0-3. That's what. Hey, for those in the chat, that was like, when would if we lost to New Mexico, how would he get fired? What it would be is you go 0-3. If you lost to New Mexico and then lost to SMU and then lost to Alabama, you would fire him at 0-3 because then you could have an interim coach kind of get the team ready for Central Arkansas, a soft reset before getting into the rest of ACC play, and it would be a low risk game to do that. And then the coaching search would be in real prime time. Now it'd be hard to announce any big time coaches. Now what's funny is normally, let me actually reframe this. Normally, if you were looking for a coach, they likely already have a job, and you likely wouldn't get them to say yes to you in a season. But I feel like those days are going to become more and more often. Like Lane Kiffin, peace. Lane Kiffin could have been competing for a national championship in the playoff, and he said, I'm leaving Ole Miss right now, actually. So I think it's going to happen more and more now that, especially if we end up going eventually to 24 teams, you'll have coaches at 8-3 with one game left to play who have a chance to make the playoffs, peace out, and go to another team. It'll be fascinating. But what's interesting is Jimbo Fisher doesn't have a job right now. Is there a world? I think it's unlikely, but let's have fun with this. Is there a world in which Mike Norvell goes 0-3? You do the whole interim coach thing, and then you bring in Jimbo Fisher mid-season. See how it goes. I don't know. We'll see. What do you guys think? But yes, the SMU game, night game at Doak should be fun. Should be fun. I'm not confident. Let's just say that. All right. I do want to comment on two things that I thought were funny this week. The first, I don't know if you guys saw it, but an FSU department put out a job ad that was clearly using like AI, like they used AI, like they probably typed in, hey, here's a picture of the players only facility, create a job ad for this job with the pay on it and our logos, and here you go, and generate it for me, and they posted it. And people gave them the business. AI slop in the comment section. I mean, on the FSU X account, AI slop. You could have had 1,000 students do this. Marketing, this is why we suck. Guys, for once this year, I will defend Florida State. And here's why. This is not some very important graphic kicking off the start of the football season with the players in it and, getting people hyped up with a video package, and it has to be well produced. And man, this is very important just for the marketing efforts of FSU football or anything like that. This is a job ad for a average low paying job at Florida State. I know it's probably because I work in an IT world and I see how much AI is doing across the board. Guys, it helps us internally. If you work in corporate America right now, it's making your slide decks, it's making PowerPoints, Word docs, PDFs, reports, graphs. It's doing everything because it's much easier to feed it your data and your branding and your images. And you do that once, by the way, now with AI, with modern AI. You can tell it, hey, I'm uploading all my brand information, my colors, my logos, the tone I like you to use. Here's all the assets. Store that forever. And it goes, got it. And at any time, you can plug in and say, all right, I need you to use my branding to make whatever. A report from my boss, an Excel spreadsheet, a PowerPoint presentation. And you just have to, at that point, focus on the facts that you need to give to it. You have, whether it be data or you have a message you want to get across from you to the rest of the company. But guys, it used to take hours in corporate America to make a slide deck and reporting and get your pivot tables on your spreadsheets. Guys, no one in corporate America is wasting time on that anymore. Everyone's using AI. Everyone. And if you're not, shame on you because it's costing you time where you could be doing more important things. That's where I think this job ad situation at Florida State falls. If this was some very important marketing campaign for Florida State and they had done this, I would say, yes, you probably should have put in the money to have a real marketing team or a real graphic designer put in some work to give you an excellent graphic. But in this case, it wasn't. It's a basic job ad. And for everyone who's like, well, you have students that would do it for free, and you could hire an intern to do it. Yeah, I could. I could post an internship role, wait for people to apply, and I could interview people for that internship role. And I could wait to onboard them, and I can train them, and I could teach them how we like to write our posts and give them all our graphics. And I could do all that with all that ramp up time to get to where I need to go. Or I could give 2 minutes an output that looks fine without having to post a job, an internship, and hire it and train people and deal with people and expect them to meet deadlines. I can just right now on my keyboard just type, I want you to do this job ad and make it for me. Is it a shortcut? Yes. Mm-hmm. But it's happening at every company in America right now. So if everyone wants to think it's a Florida State being cheap and sign of the times, guys, look at all the X accounts, game developer accounts, movie posters, advertisements, Super Bowl advertisements. No, a lot of AI, guys. It's here. It's not going anywhere. And the reason it's not going anywhere is because it's cheap, it's fast, and it does a pretty much okay job. Occasionally you'll see some weird stuff, but if you don't look real close at that job ad, you just were doing a scroll through, you'd be like, oh, I'm a Florida State job ad, and you would pass it by. It's only the people who are like, wait a minute, the logo on the field in the background looks a little weird and the numbers are kind of skew. Okay. Okay. Did he get the point across? We're hiring. Here's the amount that we're paying. Apply now. Good. So in this case, if I was Florida State, I would have done the exact same thing for this kind of thing I needed. I would not have hired someone to do something that I can do in 2 seconds with AI. Hot take, I guess. Second story I want to talk about to wrap up the show is around like this inside the Florida State program show that's going on the ACC network. Oh, actually, before I get into that, CJ threw in the question at the last second, and this goes down to the random Ryan topics. Where do you stand on AI destroying humanity? Give us a bit of conspiracy theory, Ryan. All right. So I want to be frank with you guys. I can't tell you where I work, but what I can tell you is that we're a technology company that also has an AI platform, and I work with some of the biggest AI companies in the world on this platform. How we are using it, and I think the right way to use it, and how you're going to see this transition, because I think there's been a lot of doom and gloom around AI. How I've seen it done well with AI is it's not a replacement for people. Because let's be honest, if you use AI, sometimes it gets confused and you're like, no, geez, no, that's not what I asked for, or no, you're lying to me, or no, that's not correct. And it will say, like, you're right. I'm sorry I misled you. And you're like, so anyone who's like, oh, it's gonna replace people, okay, well, have you used AI? If you let it replace someone, just be prepared for epic failures and bad decisions and bad information consistently at like an alarming rate. If you're using AI properly, you are using it to enhance an existing employee's set of skills and make them more efficient in doing their job, thus allowing them to be given additional responsibilities because they have more bandwidth, because they are able to do their job in a shorter amount of time. You can give them other responsibilities and more clients and more stuff to do, and they can handle it because now AI is helping them and enhancing them. It's a force multiplier of the human being. No different than a farmer. All of a sudden, tractors come along, and now I'm a farmer, and I farm quicker and better. So that's how working with some of the, again, you would know the companies that make these AI, okay? That's how we are utilizing it and seeing the world. Is it's an enhancement for humans. Most of the people who you will hear talk about like replacement and jobs just being wiped off the face of the earth. Usually, if you look up like the kind of shows they do, they usually go on multiple different shows and say that over and over, and they're getting paid to do that. And so alarmists get paid pretty well because they're fun to listen to. But I can tell you, in the real world, for most jobs, it'll be an enhancement for the existing worker. Now, one important caveat to this: the employee, in order to be enhanced, has to be willing to be enhanced. I can tell you because there are people that I know, not at my company, but I know family and friends who don't want anything to do with AI, who their job is trying to make them use it and they're resisting it. Those people will lose their jobs 100%. If you are one of those people who say, don't use AI for anything, AI slop, and it's a cheap way to do, okay, well, you'll be on the job market in like a year looking for a job. And you better hurry up and learn AI and how to use it well and how to talk to it and how to tune it and how to make applications off of it and how to make integrations off of it and how to make it do what the company needs it to do. If you are not steering and working alongside AI, you will get replaced. Those are the people that will lose their jobs. Just like people who may have worked at a newspaper company when the internet came along, said, I only want to work in the real paper business. Well, okay. Or you can go still do the same kind of job and be enhanced by the internet. Okay. So this happens in every single stage of technology. People that embrace the technology and utilize it to do their jobs better and quicker and faster and better, all those things, you're going to see a surge of jobs open up for you because everyone wants someone who knows how to work alongside AI and to really utilize it. Not just chat with the chat bot, yes or no's, but make stuff, turn on stuff, integrate stuff, report on stuff. If you know how to do those things in AI, you're fine in your job. You're not going anywhere. They need you to do that. So my encouragement, and that's my, sorry, it's not so much of a conspiracy theory, is anyone out there listening who is resistant to AI, including the people who hated on the marketing team for using AI on the Seminoles X page, well, you better change your tune because you're going to get left behind. Those who embrace technology will succeed. And I truly believe that. Now, is there a potential that, put my tinfoil hat on, CJ, you asked for a conspiracy, I'll give you one. Is there a potential that if security protocols aren't in place and these AI development companies do let it start self-improving without any, and they don't have the right security countermeasures in place to train it and to keep it from doing so, could it become a risk? Yes. Every single AI company, even their CEOs, will tell you, yes, that's a possibility. Yeah. And we're figuring that out. We're trying to put in protocols and training and make sure that that doesn't happen. But there is not a 0% chance that they fail and that the AI does become sentient and turn on everyone. All the CEOs, all of them have said like, yeah, it's a percentage chance that could happen. But they feel, and I tend to agree with them, that it's unlikely and that it's more likely that AI will enhance the world. And that's what I choose to believe. So last thing I want to cover before we wrap up is that show that on the ACC network behind, kind of like the behind the scenes of Florida State. These are really good. It must be an obligation show for the ACC network. Like it must be part of somehow like their agreement with the ACC network to do X amount of like maybe like a focus show or some kind of marketing because after these kind of seasons, I would do if someone approached me and says, "Hey, willingly, would you like to do a pulse of the program show?" I would say, I would actually prefer to just focus on football and not have any distractions and try to win games so I don't get fired. That's what I would like to do. Now, obligations are obligations. So maybe we aren't aware that part of the ACC network agreement with the ACC and thus Florida State is that they can do X amount of things and they are forced to kind of do these shows. It might be. I actually hope that it's not Florida State like asking, hey, can we do this? And like signing up for it. I hope it's not that because I wouldn't want that to happen right now. And it's not because the football team doesn't have good players on it or they don't have good human beings on it or there won't be some fun stories that come out of that show. All that could be fine. The actual show could be totally fine. But the mood around the program, the read the room aspect of the program right now is shut up and win. I don't want to see, basically, fans' opinions right now is I don't want to see anything Florida State related unless we start winning damn games around here. And if we don't win games, I want Mike Norvell fired. I want this thing to change. That's the only thing right now people I know care about. All that other stuff is like, okay, like I would have been the first one a couple years ago to like eat this kind of show up. Oh, I can't wait to watch this. I'm yearning for anything football because I had hoped that Florida State would be good that year, whatever year that was going into. Well, now I honestly have very little hope that this season will be anything but a disaster. So why do I want to try to pump myself artificially up for a season that's going to be terrible and we're just waiting for Mike Norvell to get fired? So if I happen to have the TV on one day and it's playing rerun number 17 on the ACC network and it's July and I have the TV on anyways, would I change it? No, I wouldn't change the channel, but I'm not seeking it out. So yeah, I don't fault Florida State for doing the show. I don't fault the ACC network, doing what they're supposed to do. But from a fan's perspective, it certainly hurts to be reminded about a program that was once so good. When you see that commercial, I know you guys saw it on X. When you see the ad for it, you're like, I really don't want to. I don't want to see anything. Actually, I don't want to see anything until we win a game. And that's kind of my mentality. So I want to get that out of the way now. Normally we go to 8 o'clock. Vince and I normally have many topics and we're bouncing back and forth, but I'm going to wrap this thing up. You guys have been awesome. We went almost the full hour with me running solo. I hope you guys enjoyed my solo efforts. I do want to also say thank you to Captain Black's Fishing for sponsoring the Garnet Old show. If you're in Panama City Beach and you want to go deep sea fishing, hit up Captain Black in Panama City Beach for your fishing needs. And if you happen to be in Tallahassee and want to go get a drink, please visit the Palace Saloon. They are our official tailgate sponsor. We will be doing our tailgate from the Palace Saloon this coming season. Please stop by. We will have some beverages for all of you, but they are a tradition unlike any other, and I can't wait to see you at the Palace Saloon. Also, even though Vince isn't here, please follow us both. Follow the Garnet Old, follow at Big Pop East and VC No on X, and support us, man. Like us, subscribe, YouTube, all that fun stuff. We love you guys, and we appreciate you watching each and every week because it's the doldrums right now. We get it. Tough times trying to make it through the season, but I do want to, again, say thank you to each and every one of you for watching. It's really nice. Vince is not here, so I will say send Chiefs all the damn time. As always, man, send Chiefs, please. We need them. We need them now more than ever, actually. But it's been a great night, guys. Appreciate it. Have a great Memorial Day long weekend. And I do want to say one last thing. That is, go Noles. Have a good night, everyone.